What's good, y'all? Episode freaking 5. Straight up no chaser. God, that sounds good. Shout out to my ride or die crew that keeps coming back every episode. Hell yeah. Y'all are the ones I'd actually pour the top shelf stuff for, okay? So buckle up. Tonight's about to hit harder than a double shot. All right, y'all. Dating as a bartender is simple. We work hard, we pour drinks, and we dodge bad pickup lines. And somehow people still think that means that we are available. Spoiler alert. I know, at least for me, I am straight up not for sale, y'all. Sorry, not sorry. Let's get real. Dating as a bartender is basically a full time job with overtime you didn't ask for. Every night, some guy thinks just because I smiled at him while I was pouring his Busch Light that he ordered, I am suddenly dating material. Just straight up wifey. Newsflash, I'm pouring drinks, not my heart. And the only thing I'm committed to is my tip jar and making sure that you are out of that bar stool at bar time. And don't even get me started on some of the regulars who act like we're in a relationship. Always getting the, dang girl, you remember what I drank? You remembered my order? Uh, yes, sir. I remember every single awful decision that you've made tonight as well. But congratulations, your beer's on time, baby. Then there's just the sheer creativity of drunk men trying to win me over, slamming Keystone Lights, telling me they're a professional in absolutely everything, or writing their number on a napkin like it's a love letter. Like, baby, the only thing I'm taking home tonight is a story and maybe my sanity if I'm lucky. So, honestly, I don't need dating apps. I have the bar. Life behind the stick as I know it. It's like Tinder, but with louder music, cheap drinks, and men who think charm is proportional to how many beers they can slam on a commercial break. Speaking of charm, let's talk pickup lines. Some of these should honestly be illegal. I've seen some wild stuff in my time behind the bar, and tonight we're going full unhinged. And I don't just mean the cheesy one liners that you hear on Instagram memes and those reels. I'm talking like the real live action, like, why is this happening moments that bartenders endure. So strap in, y'all. Grab yourself a Busch Light and get ready for the shit show. All right, so I'm bartending one night, right? Minding my business when this guy plops down at the bar and immediately whips out his phone on FaceTime. No, not to talk to his buddy. He is showing me this foreign bride, like mail to order bride. He is apparently madly in love with this girl, right? He's like, see, isn't she beautiful? Like, while he's gesturing at his phone screen, like I'm just supposed to swoon into and, wipe the drool from my chin myself. I sip my drink slowly, thinking, wow, this guy just flew in from the frickin' Twilight Zone. Like, where did you come from? But it gets worse. Halfway through, he pivots to me. You're actually way prettier than her. And he says that like it's supposed to be a compliment, y'all. I laugh politely, thinking surely this is a one off. But no, this guy sits at the bar, opens his phone browser, and somehow finds all of my socials. I'm talking all of them: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, even my high school basketball stats that are on some random ass website on Google. Somehow he's there, he's on it. So I'm flabbergasted. So I hand him his next cocktail and he's just like, "You're going to come home with me after your shift." So I'm just staring at this man. Like, he just asked me to, I don't know, adopt a pet unicorn. Like, what the fuck? Sir, I don't even know where to start. First off, no one tells me what to do. And secondly, in your freaking dreams, baby. In your dreams. He leaves eventually and he's muttering something about like true love waiting overseas. And I go back to just serving drinks, shaking my head, and laughing so hard at how all of this seriously just played out. Like, what? Who shows off their true love and then has the audacity to tell me that I'm coming over? Get out of here with all that nonsense. Oh my. So, moral of the story, some guys don't just cross boundaries, they build bridges over them, walk across, and ask you to move in. So, after surviving that Mr. Foreign Bride FaceTime, what have you, I thought my bartending life, might calm down. No. Let's enter a whole new episode, okay? So, this guy sits at my bar, my entire shift, open to close, and barely says a word. He barely orders a drink. Like, he just exists, right? So I spend the night serving everyone else. I'm making drinks, dodging the chaos that I do, and every so often I glance over, and sure as shit, he's still there. So finally, closing time hits, and he gathers the courage to speak, y'all. This man found words, and he leans in all serious, and he says, "For your tip, how would you like to go on a date with me? Better than paper money any day, right?" I froze. I seriously considered handing him a six-pack for the road as a parting gift. I laughed so hard. I felt so bad for this man. A for effort, but oh my. Sir, no. 6 hours of silence does not make this charming, okay? The only thing better than paper money right now is you quietly leaving this establishment now. So, moral of the story, some guys can sit quietly all night and still somehow make your jaw drop at the very end of the evening. All right, yeah. I'll give you one more story. So this peak bar chaos story, okay? So a guy walks in, orders a real vodka and tonic, no lime. And he leans on the counter like he's just about to drop a TED talk to me. He looks me dead in the eyes and he says, "You must be on the menu because I cannot stop thinking about you," right? Crazy eyes, just, you know how creepy men do it. So I pause. I'm holding back the laughter and I said, "Sir, I am on the menu, but let's be honest. Nobody can actually afford this or handle this. And if I'm keeping it real, the last thing your local thirst responder is going to do is date a customer, let alone go home with him for a one night stand. Come on, buddy." But he's not done. He grabs his straw from his beverage, bends it into this tiny sword thing, and he's whispering, "No, really, I'd fight dragons, wrestle a raccoon, I'd do whatever it takes to earn a taste." All creepy, weird guy, At this point, I am just half impressed that he even could come up with some shit like that. But I'm also half convinced I need to call for backup or maybe the CDC for emotional containment. Who is this man? He ends the night leaving his number on a cocktail napkin shaped like a taco. A freaking taco, y'all. Do you know how to do that? And he walks out like he just unlocked life's final achievement, which I think he did as far as it goes to napkin folding. But moral of the story, if you ever want to make a bartender simultaneously laugh, cringe, and question humanity, tell them they're on the menu. And bonus points for the props, commitment, and total delusion. All right, y'all. Now that we've survived the chaos of men who think I'm on the menu or that FaceTiming that mail to order bride counts as foreplay, let's get real. Dating out here as a bartender, it's hard. I'm talking next level hard, y'all. Let's talk about why dating as a bartender is basically a shit show with a side of chaos. Because it is. It's exhausting, but not just physically. It's mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Yep, I'm exhausted. And here's why. We literally see everything. We see it all. We see the good, the bad, the ugly, and it changes your whole dating game. You see what you do not want to tolerate when it comes to life. You see the liars, the cheaters, the guys who treat their partners like trash while they're claiming to be those good guys. The ones who say one thing but then they do another, who throw the word love around like it's monopoly money. And then we see what we do want in life. The real connections, the people who show up, the ones who are kind, funny, honest, loyal, transparent, In that contrast, that sets the bar ridiculously high for anyone who tries to date you as a bartender. Nothing surprises us anymore. People are full of shit, y'all. Everyone has a different story for everyone. No one has common sense. And I'm talking like none. You think you know a guy until he starts arguing over a straw or an ice cube. And you're like, oh, that's what a headache looks like in human form. And here's the thing, if you're dating a bartender, your partner has to trust you. Not all bartenders fall into that dirty bartender stereotype who sleeps with every customer and just is out there. Not even close. But because people assume we're all wild, your partner has to trust that your professional life does not cross that line. And that's a lot to ask sometimes. But it's a part of the deal, y'all. Because yes, we see every type of human behavior, we deal with the chaos, and we still know how to separate work from real life. And because we see it all, bartenders get picky. We're not picky because we're snobby. We are picky because we've witnessed the worst and the best, y'all. We've survived people who leave emotional landmines at the bar, who spill their baggage like it's on tap for $1 special. We've seen those guys who try to impress us with ridiculous stunts, cheesy lines, or props that would make, a circus performer blush. And after all of that, you start evaluating everyone who comes in. Anyone who walks through that door, you're like, are they consistent? Are they chaotic? Are they real? Are they performative? Are they respectful? Are they delusional? And trust me, half of y'all fail before you even open your mouth. But I still love you. And it's hard because dating outside of the bar suddenly feels like an extreme sport. You're not just meeting someone, you're observing, analyzing, grading their character, checking that energy, and deciding if it survives your internal bartender test. And if they don't pass, boy, bye. We know exactly how much nonsense we are willing to tolerate, and not a penny more. And let's be honest, because we've seen it all, we also got some wild examples of relationships in action. We see the guys who treat those partners like royalty, and then those ones who treat them like trash right in front of my face. I see those dramatic breakups, the cheating, the flirting while in committed relationships. It's like reality TV, live every night and with flowing drinks. And after witnessing all of this, you're sharper, you're wittier, and you don't fall for the first "I'm different, I promise" line that some guy gives you. You see through that shit and immediately, baby, come on, it's 2025. It also makes you highly selective. We know what red flags look like. We've seen the manipulations, the lies, the fake charm, the emotional chaos. We've learned to spot that shit from across the room behind the bar while serving a rowdy ass crowd. And at the same time, we know what we want. We want realness, honesty, someone who can handle life without turning it into that circus, someone funny, loyal, and grounded enough to survive that chaos of a world that we live in, and survive being around bartenders who have seen it all. You know what I mean? So, yeah, dating as a bartender is tough. We dodge nonsense daily, evaluate human behavior like FBI agents, and simultaneously try to have a social life outside of the bar. That is why bartenders are picky, y'all. We're not being bitchy. We've seen the worst. We know what chaos looks like, and we know what love can look like. And because of that, we refuse to waste time on that nonsense that doesn't meet our standards. Simple as that. And if we are lucky, maybe the next person who walks into our bar is actually worth the attention. But until then, don't date customers and pass the bush light and keep the chaos coming, baby. Oh, I cannot say that enough. All right, y'all. We've poured the drinks, dodged the chaos, survived the wildest pickup lines in the history of humanity, and lived to tell the tale. Somehow. here I am. So let's break it down one last time. Dating as a bartender is not just hard. Like I said, it's an extreme sport. And I just got back into that shit, man. You see it all, you experience it all, and you develop radar for chaos that the average Joe can't even imagine. FaceTiming foreign brides? Yep, check. Two, you know, taco shaped cocktail napkins? Yep, check. To silent sitters thinking they're charming just by existing? Yep, check. And yes, somehow we still smile, serve your beer on time, and keep our sanity for the most part. We've learned to spot those red flags from across the bar, separate work drama from real life loyalty, and we know exactly what we won't tolerate. We are picky because we survived the nonsense, seen it all, and learned that not every story ends with happily ever after. But at least I'm entertained watching it all unfold behind the stick. So if you're dating a bartender or thinking about it, here's the straight up truth. Your partner has to trust you. Understand the chaos and know that you're not just a character in some drunk love story. And if you can handle that, you might just survive this wild ride we call bar life dating. But for the rest of you, just grab that drink, laugh at the chaos, and know that some things are better watched from afar. All right, y'all. That's a wrap for episode 5 of Straight Up No Chaser. And remember, dating as a bartender is wild. It's exhausting, hilarious, and completely impossible. So until next time, keep your drinks full, your standards higher, and tip your freaking bartenders. That's it for Straight Up No Chaser. Cheers, y'all. XOXO, your local thirst responder.